Okay, I want to speak today to celebrate the life of a great man, country music star from the 60s and 70s, film and TV star as well, who died, and also devoted family man who died earlier this week. Glenn Campbell lived an amazing life, and I wanted to say some of his words that he wrote in one of the last songs he ever sang, that he wrote when he knew that death was coming soon. I've tried and I have failed, Lord. I have won and I have lost. I have lived and I have loved, Lord, sometimes at such a cost. One thing I know, this world is good to me. A better place awaits, you'll see. And if he were around today, I would tell him that it was our world that was much better because of him and his greatness. Glenn Campbell, his greatness was forged in childhood. He had a difficult childhood, but it made him the man he became. And he bloomed in his adult life with a career in country music spanning 50 years. And also you can see his greatness in the way that he approached death with a spirit of fearlessness. Going to his childhood, this is the earliest picture I can find of him, probably because his parents didn't own a camera at a young age. His family was very poor. He was born in 1936 in rural Arkansas, and he worked picking cotton for his family for $1 a day for much of his childhood. His beginning was humble. Fortunately for him and for us, he was given a guitar at the age of 4 and started playing voraciously in all of his free time. He was good enough to get onto the radio at age 16 and play locally, and also he started his own band, the Western Ramblers, and performed for 10 years with them 5 to 7 nights a week, and developed his onstage charisma, and eventually moved to Los Angeles to play as a studio session guitarist in 1960. And so this is him around that time as a studio musician. Many people probably haven't heard that much about Glenn Campbell. He was sort of in a forgotten group, class of musicians of country music. But you've undoubtedly heard his work. His guitar playing can be heard in many great albums, including those by Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, Elvis Presley, and the Monkees. He was also a stand-in for Brian Wilson in 1965 in the Beach Boys, while Brian Wilson was not well. Glenn Campbell went on to have a successful solo career, sold 65 million records. He blended rock and country in a sort of unique way, and he had great commercial success, and he paved the way for many artists. And it was said by Andrew Barker of Variety magazine that John Denver and Kenny Rogers owe much of their careers to Glenn Campbell's example. But why should we really see Glenn Campbell as great? He was not a rock star. He did not wear makeup. He wasn't part of the counterculture, and much of the great music from the 60s and 70s came out of the countercultural brand of rock, and he was definitely not that. He did not perform at Woodstock. He performed on network television variety shows and in Branson, Missouri for Middle America. Some people say that he was a pretty face and capitalized on that and capitulated to the masses. But did he have musical significance, true musical significance? I would say yes, but I would let his own musicianship speak for itself and let you be the judge. Let's see him shredding on the electric guitar. Okay, you probably can't hear it. Well, I think you get it. You don't even have to hear it that well. You can just see the way that he plays that the music truly speaks through him. Let's go back to this. Glenn Campbell's musicianship was undeniable, and though he wasn't a countercultural rock star, he was friends with many of the greats, including Alice Cooper, Paul McCartney, and was asked for guitar lessons by Eddie Van Halen. He was respected by all, and while not a rock star himself, he sang about kindness and being a cowboy, and that was who he was, and I say there's some artistic integrity in that. And also we have to commend Glenn Campbell on the way in which he faced death. In 2011 he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, a disease which results in certain death. But did he run and hide during the diagnosis? No, he did the opposite. Went on tour with his family who he taught to play and sing. And I think that's also very commendable. He shared the last of his 2 or 3 good years with his fans in a goodbye tour, and also made a film about himself and his affliction with Alzheimer's, and showed the tragic side of Alzheimer's. And in the entire movie, all he did was make jokes at his own expense. So I see him as a very courageous man, and I think in the end he saw himself and his faults and the tragedy of his disease, and he accepted this and went on living. And this is why I view Glenn Campbell as a great man, because of his fearlessness. Thank you.